This is episode 3 in my Summer Headspace series. This is a chance to revisit episodes from the previous school year during the summer months when you may have a little extra time. You can look for these throughout the summer with new episodes beginning on August 22nd. In these Summer Headspace episodes, I revisit episodes by theme, and you'll find the episode links right in the show notes. Today, we look back at episode 37, where Ursula Askins-Huber talked to me about competency-based grading and assessment, and episode 20, where Becky Bray-Rankin spoke with me about effective rubrics. These two episodes really complement each other. So let's jump in. Are you a language teacher looking for some reassurance that what you're doing in the classroom is on the right track? Or maybe you're looking for some ways to teach even more effectively. If you're one or the other or somewhere in between, you've landed in the right place. This is the World Language Classroom Podcast with your host, me, Joshua Cabral. You're about to get tips, tools, and resources so that your students continue to rise in proficiency and communicate with confidence. Let's jump in. Vamos, allons-y. Hello, my friends. Bonjour, mes amis. Hola, mis amigos. Welcome to the World Language Classroom Podcast. I am Joshua Cabral, and thank you, as always, for taking the time out of your week to listen to these episodes, to think about your teaching, and to be that awesome educator that you are, especially if you're taking the time out of your summer to listen to this episode right now. Just take a second, make sure that you are liking or subscribing to the podcast, the World Language Classroom Podcast, on whatever app you might be listening to right now, so that you get these episodes every Monday when they come out. And it also helps if you leave a rating, because if other teachers see that, they'll get intrigued and they can start listening as well. So I would really appreciate that. So the first episode we're going to look back on is episode 37 with Ursula Askins-Huber, and it's all about competency-based assessment or grading. So Ursula and I begin our conversation with a discussion of what grades traditionally have represented, and a lot of times continue to represent. And then we move on to the idea of competency or proficiency-based grading and how this has been less of a focus or even missing in more legacy grading practices until now, and how that's changing a bit, and that our assessments are looking more at what students are able to do with the language rather than just what they know about the language, and less about right and wrong, and really being able to communicate and how you can actually assess that. So Ursula speaks about what a grade based on competency tells us and what competency-based grading looks like in the classroom with some very specific examples. And we finished the discussion with the topics of homework completion, behavior, participation, being prepared for class, how all of that might work into a grade when we're looking at competency. So be sure to listen back to episode 37. The link is in the show notes so that you can revisit that whole idea of competency-based grading. And then you'll want to follow that episode up with episode 20 with Becky Bray-Rankin, all about rubrics, because it really complements that idea of assessment. Becky Bray-Rankin begins the discussion by telling me what her pre-rubric teaching looked like, and then moves on to tell us how she discovered rubrics and how that sort of transformed her teaching and the way she goes about teaching language to her students in her classroom. She then tells us about the benefits of rubrics, not just for students, but also for teachers, because they're this formative learning tool for teachers as well, getting feedback in the process, that while you're using rubrics to give feedback to students, how you can actually use them as a teacher to get formative feedback about how to move forward. We also learn about Becky's learn, practice, assess, reflect cycle. That's her learn, practice, assess, reflect cycle. So you can hear all about that and how she works that into her teaching, how you can bring that into your classroom. And then we finish the conversation with this big question of, is a rubric ever done? Are you done with a rubric? Do you get to that point where it doesn't need any more work? As you might guess, it's not really done. In the show notes, you will see the links to episode 37 with Ursula Askins-Huber on competency-based assessment and episode 20 with Becky Bray-Rankin on effective rubrics. So you can listen to them right there. You don't have to go looking for them. Just click on the links and you will go right to the episodes and you can listen to them right there. There are also links in the show notes to get in touch with me if you'd like to work together, either in person in your school or remotely during the upcoming school year. Look for more Summer Headspace episodes over the next few weeks, and then new episodes of the podcast coming out on August 22nd. Talk to you soon. Bye for now. You've been listening to the World Language Classroom podcast. Be sure to follow or subscribe wherever you're listening so you don't miss a single episode. Let's continue the conversation on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram at WL Classroom. You can also see over 250 blog posts about language teaching at, you guessed it, WLClassroom.com.